Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Lenin in Ranked. I showed you guys a Prince Heinrich game where I played the off flank and didn't go to the contest cap, and kind of showed you how I approach that, especially when the enemy team goes to that flank. Here though, we're playing the contest cap, and this is what I really want to do most games in Ranked. In this one, we're in the Lenin, a very strong bow-in battleship. And we're actually going to use every single one of my consumables in this game. That's how much tanking we are going to do. We're going to live a long time. We're going to have a lot of battle impact. As you can see, Lenin has some pretty insane accuracy at close range. That kind of is the gimmick of these Russian battleships, although they did get nerfed very early on when they were introduced to the game. So Lenin, being the premium that came out, actually didn't really receive that nerf. So we get a slightly better Sigma than the Vladivostok would at this tier. So that's kind of the main idea behind Lenin. We also have all our guns up front, as you notice here, but Vlad can probably do what we did in this game. Pretty close, I would say. But we are pushing very, very aggressively here. Unfortunately, we do end up losing our DD here, which is a little disappointing, and we're very, very pushed up. So we are going to have to reverse off in a second. Fortunately for us, though, as a Lenin, we do have these fast-acting damage controls. I'll show you guys the build in a little bit, but you're going to notice we actually don't have fire prevention in this one, and we do have Furious, so a very greedy build, mind you, but it did work out here reasonably well. But these fast-acting damage controls allow us to play this close. Notice we're 30 seconds away from another damage control. That's very, very powerful in a situation like this, where you could get lit on fire a whole bunch. One of the reasons I really enjoy things like Massachusetts when I push very aggressively like this is the fast-acting heal. So just having a fast-acting damage control is a similar way to tank, at least when it comes to dealing with fires. Atlantico, very scary secondary battleship. Probably a little too broadside here too, to be honest, but there you go. There's a 27,000 damage salvo out of a Lenin. At close range, this thing is terrifying, especially if you're going broadside to it. So definitely angle to a Lenin. We don't have the secondaries though, right? We're not able to apply pressure to multiple ships at once in a Lenin like we might be able to in some of the German battle cruisers or something like the Massachusetts or the Atlantico in front of us. But what we do have here is a Bayard who's doing a great job of just supporting us, farming these guys as they push in. And that's really what something like the Lenin wants as team support. Of course, it'd be lovely to have a destroyer around as well, but having your teammates able to farm while you're taking focus, almost like a traditional tank role in like an RPG or something like that, where we're taking the enemy's focus and our DPS support is helping us to take the enemies out as they're pushing into us here. Again, damage control used. We're getting pretty low here, but so is this Atlantico, and I didn't quite aim properly when he was a little more angled there. Should have gone a little upper belt or superstructure, but we do get it done at this point, and now we can start to push back in. Even on this HP, our health is going to come back relatively quickly, 20 seconds, and we'll have another heal. We're also going to be using our plane, right? We don't have a spotter plane, but a fighter here can maybe spot some of the enemy ships. I'd love to know where that Vladivostok is, because the enemy Massachusetts is caught in the middle of the map, and with the destroyer pushing around behind that island, I wouldn't mind catching his broadside or just surprising him in some way. There we go, we finally do get to our next heal. Our potential damage is pretty good already, especially considering how close the range was. 1.3 million potential damage. We do have the commander skill that'll give us another heal, so this is going to be a 5 heal Lenin. So I am taking both upgrades to get us more healing. Typically, the Russian battleships aren't going to get 5 heals. They only get up to 4 if you take the superintendent skill. It's called something different now, but I just still remember the superintendent from back in the day. But hey, 5 heals on a Lenin is pretty insane. You'll also probably see from the flag on the very top of our ship, yeah, we've got the OP commander, and that is going to save our life in a little bit. Don't you worry. Kuznetsov really is just such a massive advantage for almost any ship in the Russian line, but especially for battleships, ships that can tank and kind of control when that buff gets activated. Of course, it's at 10% of your ship's HP. You get a heal, a damage control, and worse dispersion fired at your ship. So on a battleship like this one, around 6,000 HP we need to be on, which is pretty low. We could die to just even a battleship salvo to a superstructure at that point. Massachusetts does just push right through into us, and here's where I get a little greedy. Vladivostok as well as Lenin both have pretty large citadels, and at the angle he's giving me, well, I do think we should get some big hits. We get 15k. That's okay. But I was really hoping for more like 30k. A couple citadels would have been really, really nice to see there. Now we have to bow tank a Massachusetts with the Aki just farming us down still. They get our double fire. Again, close to that damage control yet again. Reversing off, trying not to take a ram just because I don't enjoy rams all that much. Personally, I would rather take the duel, the broadsiding each other. But we will reverse off, trying to survive and have our Bayard help us out here. Damage control used. There is that extra heal coming through. So we do have 2 heals left if we do manage to survive this one. Lenin is surprisingly maneuverable. I think if we noticed at the beginning of the game, we were able to accelerate pretty quickly and dodge those torpedoes. Reversing back like this, we are quick enough to get back and do take out the Massachusetts, which feels pretty good. It's a lot of tanking done, right? We're not as interested in pushing up to just all-out brawl people in a Lenin. We are trying to ride that kind of razor's edge of brawling, but tanking mainly. Really just trying to apply as much pressure as we can without going down. It's kind of the comp battleship kind of idea too a lot of the time, where you wait and then eventually you're kind of forced to push into something where you're just there to die a slow death while your teammates are kind of cleaning up for you, right? That's kind of the Lenin's playstyle in a nutshell. Just 2 DDs to deal with now. We are very, very low on HP and still not going to wrap this fire. Again, we only have 1 damage control left. Last heal coming up. I am going to use it right away, of course. We're going to get the full value out of it. And I just want to push this guy's smoke since he's used his torpedoes. But notice we're still lit. That means the other DD, the lightning last spotted towards the B cap there, yeah, he's over here on this flank somehow. And we get on a triple fire from an Akazuki, which is just insanely unlucky. But it does allow me to just perfectly control when Kuznetsov goes off. At these low HPs, you can use fires to just slowly tick your HP down to get that heal and that damage control. And that is going to keep us alive just long enough to find this guy. And, well, this is what Russian dispersion does at close range, or at least old Russian dispersion. Before it got nerfed on some of these battleships. It was pretty nice to have. That was 9 out of 9 shells. The consistency was just lovely at close range. Not so much at long range. It was still pretty good. I mean, the meme was, oh, poor long range dispersion. It actually looked like normal battleship dispersion. But the close range was really, really nutty before. And that's why Lenin is pretty powerful. And why, if you have it, I would recommend playing it over the Vladivostok. Just because it's so good. And, yeah. We are going to get that blind fire, and we are going to get lit on fire. So that is every single possible consumable used on the Lenin in this ranked game. Squeezing out every last drop of value that this ship can give. And that gets us a win, which feels pretty good. Lenin, of course, a pretty strong pick for ranked, but there's plenty of options for it. Vladivostok, if you don't have a Lenin, but also running some secondary battleships, the German battle cruisers, that kind of thing can also do a great job. As for the build here on the Lenin, again, we are going pretty aggressive on this one, trying to get some furious value out of this ship. Of course, Kuznetsov, since we can move him around relatively easily. We are running Furious and also getting up to those 5 heals. Pretty valuable, at least in this game. It won't always be. Concealment Expert, maybe not the most value when you're just full sending it in. So maybe taking fire prevention there would be a better idea. Or spreading it around into some other skills that would help us stay alive a little bit longer. But concealment can be nice for those surprise salvos. 13.1 concealment is pretty nice. As always, a battleship salvo that's from a stealth battleship or one that isn't detected is probably always going to be more valuable than a salvo from a battleship that is already detected. Just surprises people. You tend to get more broadsides and hopefully more dev strikes, of course. Grease the gears, maybe not necessary on this one. Vladivostok, though, does have worse turret traverse, so keep that in mind. You might want to run that anyway. But still, having the turret traverse is very nice. Being able to react to different flanks is awesome. Emergency Repair Specialist, given how close we were to dying multiple times, I think Emergency Repair Specialist plus Improved Repair Party actually helped us out a lot to stay alive. It's not always going to be like that, but I didn't really see any other upgrades that were worth picking for 1 point. As for the upgrades here, I am actually running prop mod since these Russian battleships are just so ridiculously quick at accelerating. It's a very good way to tank, moving back and forth when you're kind of stationary or trying to hold position, or just to speed up and dodge torpedoes. It's really, really good. Concealment Expert, of course, aiming systems, pretty standard stuff from there. But that is the Lenin, a very, very powerful ship for ranked. And if you want to just full send kind of tank people, it's a very, very good ship for that. The armor, as you can see, is quite powerful and a pretty small superstructure too. Kind of reminds you of some of those lower tier battleships that don't have a lot of options to be farmed by lower caliber HE. Of course, if you get lit on a bunch of fires, yeah, it's gonna tick down your HP a lot more. But staying bow in, yeah, you're very, very difficult to kill. Just keep in mind, if you are shooting all 3 of your turrets, just the way this armor is angled, you can kind of see how extreme that angle gets, just coming from the bow out to the widest point of the ship. It actually means you can be cheeked. So keep that in mind. If you are shooting your rear gun, people can cheek you through this armor here and right into that citadel. It is above water, by the way, also, so just be careful. If you go broadside, if you do shoot all your guns, you got to be a little bit careful of getting cheeked. So that's why you're always going to try and stay like this, turn a little bit, shoot your rear gun, and then angle it back in again if you are playing this ship. But there you go. That is the Lenin in ranked. I will probably continue with some more of these ranked games, since brawling battleships, pushing like this, it just works way better in ranked than it does in random battles these days. Randoms is just too difficult, but we'll still do some randoms, don't you worry. I did see that comment of Tiger59. It's got hundreds of upvotes. Why is that the one with the most upvotes, guys? Hello? Are we just looking for me to suffer? I suppose that is entertaining. So look forward to that in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.